Bayern Munich are sort of Man United and Liverpool rolled into one. The big behemoth, the club that dominate, and everyone else is in their shadow.
They're really just an icon of German culture, I would say, up there with Oktoberfest and Angela Merkel.
Munich is also a city that stands for kind of the success culture. Bayern Munich represents that.
I've never heard of a football fan say, I don't want to support this team anymore because we win all the time. You'll never hear anybody say that.
Bayern Munich has won the Bundesliga 10 years running.
Increasingly people are wondering if that dominance is overbearing and is actually harming the Bundesliga on the whole.
It's really hard to punish a team for being very good. But on the other hand, it is getting to a point where maybe someone else needs to win.
People are very proud of Bayern's success. They're the largest club in Germany, both financially but also in terms of their membership numbers.
They are the team of Bavaria, of Bayern, the largest, richest land in Germany. That gives you a very strong foundation.
I think the global appeal goes back to Bayern's history as a club that in the 70s dominated European football, 3 European Cups in a row with mostly local players. Beckenbauer, Müller, Breitner, Uli Hoeneß, they were all either from Munich or not too far.
I think it's kind of the identity of the city itself, and then the fans, they are drawn to a team that's winning a lot domestically and also representing Germany and Munich internationally.
They like the bit of the mystique that comes with Bayern. Bayern have this heightened sense of themselves, being Bavarian, being something special, being unique.
They have this slogan, Barcelona has Més que un club, Bayern has miasanmia, which is kind of Bavarian for we are who we are.
I think that says quite a lot about how they feel about themselves. They don't really care how other people feel about them as long as they are successful, and that success is above everything.
They have vast financial resources. They outbuy anyone else, and that's their biggest element of success.
In Bavaria, there are some big German companies as well. So Bayern, for example, has very lucrative deals with Adidas and with Audi. So really there's this strong partnership between the local businesses and the club.
Bayern Munich, they can buy most of the expensive players in the league. They can buy players from other clubs, of course, but they can also shop internationally. I mean, they can acquire someone like Sadio Mane. None of the other teams can.
From the rivals, they kind of take the best players. How often have we seen that in the past 10 years, that Dortmund's biggest stars have gone to Bavaria?
One of the big things when it comes down to Bayern Munich is that they just don't make mistakes very often. And when they do make mistakes, they're quite ruthless in making changes.
If they see that something doesn't work out, a coach doesn't win 3 or 4 games in a row, his head is already on the chopping block and they'll ruthlessly get rid of him and get the next guy in. And that's another reason why they're so successful, because they just cannot tolerate anything else.
The main question of every league is, who's going to be champion? Almost at the outset in Germany, there's like this fatalism, oh, Bayern is going to win anyway.
People will say, well, why should I watch this competition? It's a foregone conclusion, Bayern always win, and there's no good answer to that. For Bayern themselves, I think they're quite happy with that. They would like to perhaps be slightly more challenged because it would make for a better product to sell abroad. But at the same time, I think what they've realized is that people don't really watch leagues, they watch teams. Dominance, winning is bad for the competition, but is actually good for their own standing.
I think no one would complain if Bayern had won 6 out of the last 10. Most domestic leagues around the world, that used to be the average. When you go back to the 90s and 80s, even the Premier League, Manchester United were quite dominant. Or Man City at the moment, although that's going into Bayern Munich territory.
The same goes for Real Madrid and Barcelona dominating La Liga, and the same goes for Juventus and Serie A. So the comparison is the same, but I think that Bundesliga just gets more slack for it. I don't think it's Bayern's fault whatsoever that this is the way it's been for the last 10 years.
It's really hard to punish a team for being very good. But on the other hand, you want competitiveness in your first division, and it is getting to a point where maybe someone else needs to win.
Dortmund should probably have won at least 1 title in those 10 years, and then we'd be having a different conversation. Schalke, who were challenging at the beginning of this century, have fallen away and just had to come back from Bundesliga 2. The same is true of Bremen, who are regular in the Champions League, who won the league as late as 2003. And Hamburg, who in theory should be the biggest rival, they're also still stuck in Bundesliga 2. So Bayern have taken advantage, if you will, of the mistakes of others, and because they have more money and probably more expertise as well, it's made them pretty much unassailable.
There's this 50+1 structure of ownership. Basically, it means that in Germany, by law, a club has to be majority owned by the fans. And that means it's not very attractive for investors, because why would you invest in, say, Dortmund if at most you can own 49% of the club?
There's always calls about abolishing 50+1 for teams to become competitive Bayern Munich, but I'm actually not sure that will do the trick. When Jurgen Klopp challenged Bayern, he did it with his own way, right? And coming up with an innovative way of doing it. And then he's doing the same thing with Liverpool right now when he challenges Manchester City. The gap between the two clubs is massive, and most of the time he ends up losing, but you still challenge. And I think 50+1 can be an obstacle, but I don't know if abolishing it would actually help.
For most teams, it's a question of realism. It's very difficult to make up that gap, but at the same time, it breeds a different kind of expectation.
A lot of fans, they don't really care about a championship race. They care about their club, they care about their club culture. So let's say fans of Eintracht Frankfurt, they care about their city, they care about their club, and they don't care that they are maybe 10th in the league. They have an own race, an own competition going on without really looking at the championship title.
When you compare that to the way the Premier League is run, where everyone dreams of a rich owner and then we can challenge, here the dream is a different one. Here the dream is we do things our way, we don't sell to anyone, we control our own club, it's still our own club, we can vote for the chairman. If we don't like the chairman, we vote the chairman out. And if we can have success, and success can be defined as getting into the Champions League or getting to Europa League, that is almost as good as winning, and actually it feels sweeter because it hasn't been bought with foreign money.
You will not find any fans in the Allianz Arena who will complain about Bayern being number one and it's boring in the Bundesliga. Bayern fans, they are happy being number one and they like it, they like to win.
This is what we hear every time, and that, it is boring, but for me it's not boring.
Personally, no. I like winning.
No, never. Winning is the best feeling.
It's the normal thing,
It's nicer when there's some competition, and I hope there's some competition this year.
It's never not exciting to me. Even if we won every single year for the next 2,000 years, I'd still be very excited.
Bayern is everything, football is everything.
I've never heard of a football fan say, I don't want to support this team anymore because we win all the time. You'll never hear anybody say that. Winning is amazing.
They've almost become too big to fail. I think we could easily see another 5 years of Bayern winning the Bundesliga, and then it would be 15 in a row. The more and the longer Bayern dominate, the more we'll see a debate about structural change in the Bundesliga.
Long term, I think this club will never fall from grace. Will they maybe not win a title or two here and there? I mean, it can happen. It could happen this year. It's possible, but I don't think we will see an AC Milan-like collapse.
Bayern will not, of their own volition, say, okay, you know what, we're just going to try a little bit less, hope that somebody else might win it. That's not in their thinking at all, because for them, not winning would be seen as a disaster and a total disgrace. They can't help it, they're damned to win.